Hello and welcome to the London Club. Now, as we head into the main competition part of the golf season, you are going to need to make some really important strategy decisions while you're out on the golf course. And that's what this video is all about. We're going to take a look at the 7 biggest risk and reward scenarios. We're going to talk you through some of the strategy involved and tell you how to take on the shot if that's what you decide to do. Now, the advice comes courtesy of Ged Walters. Ged is one of the Golf Monthly top 50 coaches. He'll talk you through the technique that you need to play all of these crucial shots. Now, this video, it's important to say, comes in partnership with Nikon and the CoolShot 50i laser rangefinder. I'll be using this to provide us with all the key yardages that we need while we're out on the course. Now, it features something called dual locked-on quake functionality that helps you to identify the flag a little bit faster and a little bit easier. It also allows you to scan the horizon to help you differentiate between the flag and the background. Now, the last thing I'll say about it is that it also has a magnet that allows you to attach it to the side of your golf cart. Right, come on then, Ged, let's get started. Okay, so this one is all about picking your line off the tee, and again, how aggressive are you with that line? And this is a great hole to talk about this on because it's a par 5, it's reachable for the longer hitters, but you've got a decision to make. You can either go down the right-hand side of the hole, makes the hole much longer, probably plays it as more of a 3-shotter if you go down the right, or you can be aggressive, you can go down the left-hand side, so left of those trees that you can see at the end of the fairway. That leaves you with a much shorter shot into the green, but it's tighter, so it's trickier. So in a scenario like this, Ged, what are you thinking? What's the thought process that people need to have?
Okay, again, like all shots, it's the shape of shot that you hit is the key, isn't it? So if you're fading the golf ball, then you would look at it and say, well, you know, I want to give myself the greatest funnel. So, you know, faders would definitely tee up on the right-hand side of the tee box.
Okay.
Drawers would probably tee up a little bit more over to the right-hand side and be aimed a little bit to the right, so they're again creating their bigger funnel. If you were going for the more dangerous shot, the risky shot, what gives you the greatest reward, you would definitely be more on this right-hand side, even if you were fading the golf ball. Because, you know, if you tee up on the left-hand side, you're hitting a fade, then, you know, your line is literally over these bushes here on the left, and that's not a good place to start mentally.
So you give yourself sort of almost margin for error, and then you can see the shot in front of you. You should be able to paint a picture for what the ball flight is going to do. Now, the yardage that I've got here, so the tree at the end of the fairway that you need to be left of or right of, is 282 playing 275. So that's the kind of distance that you're looking to hit it.
Yeah.
But if you go for that left-hand side, what makes this tricky is that it's slightly blind. So how do you play blind shots? How are you visualizing that target and that ball flight when it's blind?
It's the same as when you can see exactly what's in front of you. You know, if you picture where the ball is going to finish, and then if you drew your shot shape in your mind back to your point where you stood. So you're visualizing then from the sort of left of the tree. For me, I'd be visualizing maybe gentle draw all the way back down to here. If you're a fader, visualize the other thing. And then from there, it's just about trust. It's about trusting your process. So it's all about focusing on what you would have as a swing thought if you've got one, or stuff that you've been working on with your coach.
Yes.
So the impact is all about the process,
yes,
isn't it? So you just try to make your swing.
Which is a really good point, because that becomes harder to do as the pressure mounts. It's very easy to get away from that process. Okay, Ged, so go for it. I want you to have a go for the aggressive shot.
The aggressive shot. I'm looking the tree, maybe to sort of the left side of the tree, sort of left side of the branches. So from that point of view there, just picking my line, focusing now, squaring my face, just here, just in front of that line I've picked out at. Now I can build my stance around the club face. And then from that point of view, it's just trusting my feeling there. And then just committing to it, just focus on what it feels like to swing the golf club. And there's that little draw at the tree, and then just back round into the fairway.
Perfect. And I think you've got about 170 odd yards to the flag. You're in real birdie chance if you can pull off that
Eagle
shot.
chance.
Eagle chance, sorry. Eagle chance. Yeah. So it goes to show you can do it, but you need the thought process, and then you need to be able to have the presence of mind not to get too caught up in anything else other than your normal process. If you do that, you might just be able to pull off a few more shots like that one. Right, so as you can see, we have a tree in the way. Now this is a par 5, the 11th hole here on the international course at the London Club. And Ged, it's one of these scenarios where you've got two options. You can chip it back out sideways,
yep.
That's fine. But if in that scenario here, you're still gonna have about 250 odd yards left into the green. So you can take the more aggressive play up the right-hand side, but that is a little bit more dangerous. Now, the Nikon is telling me that to the crest of the hill, Ged, you've got 150 yards, which would leave you about 80, 90 yards in, which would be absolutely ideal. So the question is, what do people need to think about before taking on the shot? And then if they do take the shot on, how do they do it?
Okay. Lie, swing direction, your pattern are probably the first two things to think about.
Okay.
Can I hit the shot I want to hit? So can we get to the crest of the hill? Can we get it 150, 160 yards down there? From this lie we've got here, we can do. If we were here,
no way.
No, we've got no chance. Yeah, you just got to take your medicine there. And then understanding what shot you hit. So if you're a slicer of the golf ball, then you can't hit this shot. You're not going to just be able to turn it on and off, otherwise you wouldn't slice it. Yeah. So you've got to understand that if you're slicing it and your swing pattern is this way, then you're going to have to fade it round the tree. Well, from this position here, that's not the shot. If you're maybe over there, yeah, you can play that. You can play that shot.
If you tried to play it from here, you're bringing the tree in.
Yeah. So it's a tough one. So
okay. So then, with this particular shot, you need to hit a slight draw.
Yeah.
You need to keep the flight down because of the branches. Technically, how do you do it?
So the ball's going to start closest to where the club face points. So we don't want to point the club face at the target because there are trees there, so the ball will start too close to it, and 9 times out of 10 you see somebody try and play this shot and they'll hit the tree. So we want to align the body a little bit to the right of the tree. So from here I'm looking at probably where the bunker is.
Yes.
Just there. So if I was to align the club face at the bunker and my body a little bit to the right of the bunker, then I've now got the ability to swing the club normally, but have the club face at impact slightly closed to the path that I'm swinging on, which is going to then help me do it.
Yeah, and I guess you should be able to look down at a dress and see that the face of the club is slightly closed to what you would usually see, right? Without it being too exaggerated and bringing the tree into play.
Yeah, and then nudging the ball a little bit back in your stance than we normally have it. So not loads, we're not going to push it all the way back here. You know, maybe a ball's width, maybe a ball and a half's width back in the stance, just to try and take a little bit of that loft off and just keep that initial launch a little bit lower.
Yeah, lovely shot, Ged. I think it shows that you can develop the skills that you need to be able to hit these shots, but it does take some practice. Right, so we're on the par 3 12th on the international course at the London Club. And Ged, this is a risk and reward scenario because the question that everyone will need to answer in a position like this is, how aggressive are you with your line? How close to the flag do you aim? Now, Ged, what's the information that you need to gather in order to build a strategy in a scenario like this?
Okay, so the main problem that we've got is the water, which we need to carry. So whether we want to be aggressive and go at the flag, I suppose it would just depend on where you were. You know, if you were in the club championships and you were into the back nine in the last round and you're going on a good score, then you probably want to just going to stick this in the middle of the green. It's almost like playing 12 at Augusta, isn't it, on Sunday? But you need to know, what is it to carry the water at the flag? At the flag. And then also,
I've got the slope on to help, and it's 165 playing 152 to carry the water.
Okay, and what about the middle of the green?
Middle of the green is 175 playing 160.
Okay, so there's not a great deal in it between those two. So now the next number we need is the most important one. What is it to the hill at the back of the green?
Hill at the back is 179. So 190 playing 179.
Okay, that's the number.
Right, okay.
Because we want to take the danger out of the equation. Bear in mind that most golfers don't flush it all the time. So if you misstrike it, but you've got the club that's not going to hit it anywhere beyond that second number at the back of the green, then you're going to be on the green.
Yeah.
So if you hit an okay shot, I'm on the green. Hit a great shot, I'm at the back of the green.
Okay, go on then, Ged. Okay. You've got one task here.
Got one task here.
Carry the water.
One task here to carry the water. Well, I've got 6 iron because I know that, well, if I don't quite get it, I should carry the water. And if I hit it really solid, well, at worst case scenario, I'm going to be back edge.
Back edge.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we are going to go for it.
You're going to go for it?
Yeah.
It's a quite aggressive line.
I'm going to be aggressive on it, yeah. I've just pulled it a touch.
Well, you just
It's a lovely
drawn
shot,
it away
though.
from the flag. It's fine, it's good. It's only
Okay.
just about made it over, but
Yeah.
I think it goes to show that the thought process is exactly right. Figure out what it is to the safest part and then work from there. Okay, so this is less of a risk and reward scenario, more just risk as far as I'm concerned. For me, this would be, and for most golfers, I think this would be one of the hardest shots they could face, the long bunker shot, Jed. Have you got a safe way of playing this?
Yes, mentally and visually, it's an intimidating shot. The reality is, it's quite straightforward.
Okay.
The loft is the key to it.
Right.
Most people will come in here, it's greenside bunker, so they will immediately go in the bag and reach for their greenside bunker club. Lob wedge generally for a lot of people, 58, 60 degrees. Some people will go sand wedge, but it's still a lot of loft. We've got, I don't know, what was it? It looks like it's about 45 yards.
Well, Laser is telling me it's 40 yards to the flag
Okay.
and then 60 yards to the bank over the back.
Right, okay, so the key then is to play the shot in the same way, but use less loft to play it. So I've got two clubs here. I've got my 58, which is my normal greenside bunker club, but the shot I play this with is actually a pitching wedge.
Right, okay.
You know, so it's what, 13 degrees of loft difference.
Yes. Okay, Jed, so I'm going to ask you to play two shots. Play one with your normal lob wedge, lob wedge to start with.
Great.
I'll take the wedge.
Yeah.
And I just want you to talk through the techniques. What's the greenside bunker technique? And then play it again with the wedge. And hopefully we should see the difference.
Okay, so I personally prefer a square setup. You know, there's a lot of people open the club face and aim to the left. It's good because that engages the bounce, but you can still do it in a slightly different way. So me personally, I prefer taking a setup and aiming at your target. Then create your width of stance, ball position, as you can see there's a little forward of center. From here now, I'm going to roll the club face in my hands a little bit. So I'm opening the club face.
Opening the face, and
so
then
that's
you take the grip.
engaging the bounce and taking the leading edge away.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, you think that's off to the right-hand side. But if I then lower my hands, that brings the face back to the target.
Yes.
It tilts the loft back to where I want to go.
And that enables you to use your wrist a little bit more to create the...
So I can make my normal swing in terms of direction a little bit more sort of wristy, so feeling upward hinge and then downward hinge more. Now, some people would pick the club head up and throw it in the sand with your trail hand, and then some might feel point the butt of the grip at the ground and then point it back at your torso quickly. It's whichever resonates with the individual, I would say, more than anything.
Fine.
But it's having that mental picture.
Yeah.
And
as you can see, you've made it into that
well,
next bunker along.
Well, you look at that, if that was the green, that would be a
Absolutely
nice
no problem.
Yeah.
So, right, let's have a go for the flag then.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And I'll give you that. And give yourself half a decent lie, Jed. I'm going to give you a chance.
Right,
here.
okay, let's pop it.
There you go.
Okay, so same setup, same routine, same technique, only this time I'm not rolling open 58 degrees. It's a lot less. So
you are opening it, but
yeah,
it's because it's less loft to start
so
with.
just opened it there a little bit, but then once I lower my hands, I'm pointing it back more at the target and then just making the same motion.
And you've made the carry easily.
Onto the green.
And I mean, you've made that look incredibly easy, but I think it is one for people to practice.
Yeah.
And just get comfortable with less loft.
Yeah, bunker shots are the ones that are hard to practice because there's not a lot of facility to go out and just stand and hit shots. But practicing them, different lofts, but the same technique, seeing the different trajectories and distances that you're going to get.
Yeah, that's a simple way to do it. Okay, so this is a real risk and reward scenario. So you've got a long shot over water. It's 165 to carry the water, 180 to the flag, Jed. So it's a long enough shot over the water to really get your attention. You can play this up the right-hand side, and a lot of golfers would be well advised to do that, pitch it on and make par that way.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on going for it and hitting that long iron or that hybrid into the green. And I want to talk about technique. Like, what's the key to playing this shot well?
The biggest thing, obviously, we've got a perfect line because we're in the fairway. The fairways here are fantastic. I think the biggest thing that we need to think about is making sure that the club makes contact with the ground in the correct spot.
Okay. Yes.
And for a lot of people, you know, ground contact is generally happening sort of back here. So there's a lot of, you know, golfers hanging pressure backs, moving the sort of arms away from the ground and or raising up a little bit to avoid hitting the ground here. And that's why, you know, a lot of golfers sort of pick it clean off the top, hit the thin shots, hit the fat shots, hit the top shots. And really, if we want to strike the ball really nicely, then we've got to hit the ground, but we need to hit it in the correct spot, which is always target side of your golf ball.
Right, ball first, ground second.
Exactly.
That's the order that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So give us a tip or a drill to help people focus on that then.
I would say for most people, they need to make sure that their weight is forward or towards the target. So whether you're going to go with hybrid or an iron, so I mean, you know, for the distance that we have here, 180, it's about my 6-iron distance.
Okay.
You know, there's plenty of golfers who, you know, might not even sort of hit that 160 carry with irons. So yeah, you know, if you need to hit hybrid, hit the club that is going to carry you the distance you need.
Yes.
As always, you know, we know what it is to the flag, we know what it is to the carry. You know, if we know what it is to the back of the green,
which I can tell you, it's 195 to the back.
Okay, so
you've got a bit of room there.
For every golfer there, well, we've got 15 yards behind the flag. So really, what we need to do is pick our 190 club.
Yes.
And hit that one.
Okay, so what's our tip for striking the ground?
So from this
right
one
place?
here, so I'm going to go with iron, so I'm going to give that there to you. And the key to it, as I say, is weight forward. So from this point of view here, for most golfers, from the top of the backswing, the pressure can shift into the trail side and then stay there. So we have the ability to hit the ground here, and to avoid that, we raise up, we early extend, we separate the elbows, flick it at the wrist. So this is all raising the circle that the club is moving on away from the ground, away from the golf ball. What we actually want to do is feel that from the top of the backswing, we shift towards the target. So we shift the pressure more in, for me, the left, if you're a lefty, to your right, and we maintain that movement constantly and maintain fairly straight arms, so extended arms, so the club will then want to hit the ground more over here. Well, that's going to give you your ball turf strike. That's going to give you the biggest opportunity to get that quality of strike.
Yeah, and if you start doing it, you will immediately notice what a big difference it makes to the quality of the contact.
Huge difference.
We can't just talk about this shot forever, Jed. You're going to have to hit it for us.
Right, okay. So, taking my aim, squaring that face in there, and then from me, I mean, I'm always a little bit more left side of pressure anyway into the setup position. So I'd probably be maybe, I don't know, 60-65% into my left side address anyway with irons. You know, a lot of people maybe can drift. You see a lot of it to the right. So I'm going to be a little bit more into the left-hand side, try and stay nice and stable in the backswing, and then shift the pressure, try and get that ground contact over there. I've just started that fraction to the right.
It's drawing though.
Yeah, it's coming round.
Safe.
Yeah, so nice and safe. I'm on the green, but a slightly longer shot than ideally I would have liked. But I've got an eagle putt.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever you would do in this scenario, whether you go for it or play it safe, it's worth practicing this shot that Jed is talking about here, because again, if you can develop that skill set, it really can come in handy. So we have a classic risk and reward scenario, one that many golfers will face, you know, in the majority of rounds of golf that they play. And the question is, how aggressive do you want to be? How close do you want to pitch this ball to you to get it close to the flag? What should people be thinking about here, Jed?
Don't try and keep it this side of the flag is what I would say.
Right, okay, yeah.
You know, hitting it to 6 feet to 10 feet is a good result, but bear in mind, there's still 10 feet the other side as well, which gives you more room.
More room.
The classic one is literally trying to sort of be too cute with it and dumping it in the bunker.
Yeah.
And that's why it is such a fearful shot for most golfers.
And I guess the key here is to assess the lie. That's why we've got two golf balls
so we've got two
laid
there.
out.
Obviously, we've got one which is, you know, it's not lying too bad. It's very close to the edge, but it's, you know, it's not a bad position to be in. And then this one here, you know, this is really nestled down. So this is a really difficult one to judge in terms of how it's going to come out. Sometimes these come out sort of really dead. Other times they'll fly on and release a lot. The key is just committing to how far you want the ball to fly through the air.
Right, okay.
So if we think of A to B is where the ball is to where it lands, B to C is then out of your control.
Okay, fine.
So we concentrate on the length and the type of motion that's going to move the ball from its lie to the green, and then, you know, if you get from that lie, especially, you know, if you get quite lucky, it lands softly and it ends up close, then great, but you're better off with the putter in your hands than just keeping this wedge in your hands for your next shot.
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely. So talk us through how you play it then. So you assess the lie,
Yeah.
You're trying to pitch the ball past the flag, are you, or on the flag?
I would be looking at this, and I would be looking at trying to sort of pitch it close enough to the flag. I'd be thinking of about maybe 2 or 3 feet short of the flag, so try and carry it all the way.
Okay, so play this one for us then.
So from here, this kind of lie here it's a kind of lie where if you were a really good or skilled bunker player, you could play it like a bunker shot.
Okay.
And play that sort of flop shot, which everybody likes to see. If you're not so skilled playing the bunker shot, you can still play that type of flighted shot, but just take all the risk out of it.
That's the shot I need to know how to play.
Okay. So
Tell me.
That shot there is really just taking your setup to where your target is there, and then we're going to open the club face to give ourselves more loft. So I've got my sand wedge here, which is a 54 degree, but now by the time I've opened it up, that's getting closer to 58, 60. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move around to my right, so I bring my club face more to the target. So from there, you see the ball position from this angle actually looks like it's right in line with sort of the inside of my left foot, but the reality is it's still quite central. Yeah. So I've now got the club face pointed at the target, so I've got my loft preset. I don't need to do anything. I can literally just keep my arms nice and extended, move them back, and then just rotate the torso through, just allow the loft to slide underneath and just pop it into the air.
Yeah.
So it's the length of swing now for the distance that it needs to go.
Okay.
So from here now, keeping the pressure of the body into the left-hand side, and then just moving arms back, chest through, and just committing to it. You see how it just pops up in the air. It's landed about a foot short. It's ran on. It's probably about 9 feet away, but I take that every day.
Yeah, and I think it shows that you can get yourself into a bit of a fix here if you start to really get too aggressive. Having that mindset of getting the ball back in play, giving yourself a putt for par, it could make all the difference to your scoring. Okay, so the final hole here on the international course at the London Club, it's a par 5, just over 500 yards, Jed. And I think for a lot of golfers, they will have a hole at their home club where they know that if they get a really good drive away, they might be able to get to the green in 2, whether that's a long par 4 or a par 5. On this occasion, the crest of the hill that you can see over there in front of us, I've lasered, it's telling me it's about 235.
Yeah.
To get over that crest of that hill.
Yep.
So if you can do that, Jed, you'll get up to you'll have a good chance. So how do you add a bit of extra distance to your drives without losing control?
I think the key is, and modern driving ranges and all the gadgets that we can have now, is we've got a lot more data about what we can do ourselves. Knowing your club head speed is an important one, because relative to your speed, your launch conditions are the most important things, as well as where we strike the golf ball on the club face. So if you're a slower swing speed player,
yeah,
you need a higher launch angle,
right,
and a little bit more spin then is not too bad.
Okay.
As that club travels faster through impact, then the launch will come down a little bit, the spin needs to come down so you can optimize your conditions to maximize your distance.
Okay, fine.
Bear in mind, if you miss the middle of the club face, then that's going to cost you energy. Anyway.
You're going to be spinning it up a bit probably, aren't you? So how do you achieve those launch conditions then? Is that something you do at setup?
Yeah, so setup, and again, certain players, when they've got a really fast speed, they can have the ball a little bit further back in the stance and not quite hit it as up, so hit it down. But I would say generally for the majority of players who are swinging the club, say, under 100 miles an hour with the driver, then a ball position which is a little bit further forward, launching it a little bit higher, is key.
Yes.
It's like now, we're into a little bit of a breeze here, so a lot of people who want to tee it down, well, teeing it down is going to lower your launch, it's going to increase your spin. It actually has the opposite effect. It makes it shorter into the wind than actually hitting it further.
Yes, okay. So go on then, show us what the correct address
So
position
from
looks like.
here now, I've got the ball teed up fraction higher than normal. If you were to sort of address ball almost in line with sort of left foot there, from here keeping the ball there and just opening the width of your stance.
Okay.
So the ball now, especially from my perspective, looks like it's sort of out here. And from there, that's going to give me the opportunity then to have a little bit more upward angle of attack, hitting the ball fraction above the centre of the club face and trying to optimise them launch conditions.
And I guess one of the keys here is to ensure that your upper body you don't end up trying to sort of, your upper body's not getting on top of the ball, it's staying centred over your stance. Not leaning back, but sort of staying centred, right?
Yeah, it's almost trying to keep your head stable, keep your centres aligned. So your lower body's still going to drive forward, your pressure's still going to drive forward, but especially where the ball position is there, you're behind the impact, that's going to help you with that upward delivery.
Okay, go on then, hit it for us.
Okay.
What a shot. Beautiful.
We'll take that one.
You've carried the cusp of that hill comfortably.
Yeah.
You'll be able to get up in no problem at all. I think it goes to show, just get those basics right at address, get the strike right, and you should be able to add a few extra yards. So there you have it, that's our look at the 7 risk and reward scenarios that every golfer will face. Hopefully Ged's advice there will help you think a bit smarter to ensure that when you do want to take on the risk involved in these shots, you've got the technique and you've got the skill set to be able to do it, because it could help with your overall scoring. But that's it for now from the London Club. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.